Hello all, what a pleasure I have tonight. Michael Williams joining you in the newsroom because we are celebrating a 35th birthday of that wonderful, beautiful lady inside and out, Kelley Dunn, February 10th, 1986. She walked through the doors of WPTV and has been gracing the airwaves ever since. Congratulations, Kelley.
Thank you so much, Michael. Okay, this is one of the weirdest things is that you're just sitting over there, but obviously because of COVID and with all the partitions, I mean, what a crazy time it is. And just another thing that I can say that, hey, I remember that when, we lived through that back when I was working at WPTV.
Well, it was 35 years. I know you've got a lot of thoughts going through your head. You've gotten a lot of nice comments today, and we'll pick some up. You at home, right in. As so many of you have been watching, Kelley, for a good chunk already. Ari Williams says, big hearts. Nuri Perez, congratulations. You're seeing all the comments there. Yeah, congratulations is right. What's it feel like there, First Lady of South Florida News, as you are, as I always call you. And you are, by the way. Kelley is one of the longest serving anchors in the country. And I believe the longest serving anchor in all of South Florida. I have to check my old Miami stomping grounds, but I don't think anybody there's longer serving, and certainly nobody with more grace or class. What's it feel like?
Oh, it feels great, but it doesn't feel totally different, if that makes any sense at all. Mm-hmm. It's just funny, and I'm sure all of you at home can relate just how time flies. I mean, literally time flies. So it feels like yesterday we were celebrating my 25th anniversary here and then my 30th. So it's like, wow, how did 5 more years go by? So the whole time thing is kind of getting me a little bit today. But I will say, when I was walking in the door, when I was coming in today, I just, I've been here, I've been working in this building since it was built, which was 2001. We moved into 1100 Banyan Boulevard in West Palm. But prior to that, we were on Flagler Drive in West Palm Beach in a small little station. It's all we knew, and we loved it. And it was kind of old and dirty, but had a $1 million spectacular view on the Intracoastal Waterway in West Palm Beach. So,
Kelley, you're going to love, look at this comment. You're going to love this one.
I'm guessing she must have started. Well, thank you very much, Christy. I so appreciate that. I was 22 when I started. I was literally 2 months to see. This is what's changed over all these years. I got to have this to see the comments. I was 22. I graduated from the University of Florida. Michael and I, go Gators, in December of 1985. I think it was like December 18th or 19th. Yep. And then I started here on February 10th. So there was really no in-between time in any part of my life. I've worked literally almost every day of my life.
We've got to call this one up, Kelley. This will touch you. David Bloodworth. Teresa, thank you. All of you. Love you, Kelley. David Bloodworth writing. And Kelley, I'll let you take it away, but saw Kelley as a baby. Her father, the late Ed Dunn, who was a wonderful man and a Florida legislator. And you can take it away from there, Kelley.
And Gator teammates. Hi, David. How are you? It's so nice. I saw that you I didn't get back to you yet on my Facebook post, so I need to do that. But yes, David, our longtime state attorney in Palm Beach County, and
Thank you for your service, sir.
Yes, a legendary attorney and public servant. And he did know my father when my father was in politics many years ago. So nice to hear from people from our past. Oh my gosh. I mean, Michael, I've been here. I've been working at this station longer than a good portion of our staff have been alive.
Yeah, like me, for instance.
Yeah, just like you.
Yeah, well, oh wait, no. 35 goes into 62. Anyway, listen, I'll tell you what, but I knew she'd catch that. Keep your comments coming, but maybe hold them for a second, because I think what would be neat right now for all of you at home, and we want Kelley to have a chance to respond to your lovely comments, and boy, aren't they, and all so well deserved. By the way, before we throw to this neat piece, it'll kind of give you a capsule look at Kelley's 35-year career here, and we're going to go to that. So I'll hold your comments and we'll keep them coming so you can respond, Kelley. So many of you have asked me over the years, is she really as nice and authentic and gracious and wonderful in person as she seems on TV? The answer is an absolute, unabashedly yes. She is one of the greats who's ever worked in this television industry. I've been doing this 40 plus years. Never a nicer, more gracious, more talented person to work with than her. On that note, keep your comments coming. We'll let you go, but let's look at Kelley a little look back, and we'll look ahead too. Take a look.
Kelley Dunn, welcome aboard. Glad you made it up on time.
Yeah, I sure did.
A lot has changed since February 10th, 1986.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Special K edition of Today on 5.
You got it.
Hairdos and fashions come and go. So do co-anchors and countless other great colleagues. Through all the years, though, Kelley is always wonderfully Kelley. She is sunshine and sincerity, infectious laughter and good cheer.
Cheers, cheers, cheers to you, Stevie.
A newsroom voice all of us listen to. A community voice all of us cherish.
I'm Kelley Dunn, and my Smart Women Report is about you and the important issues that affect you and your family.
In the silly moments,
I had no idea you were doing. That's my payback, isn't it? Oh, God. Shut his arm off.
and the serious ones.
There's an imposter calling members of the community and claiming to be a deputy.
Kelley is a constant, real and relatable.
Nice people like my friend Mike, who just walked up and gave a cash donation.
She's a great wife, mom, friend, and ambassador for countless causes. So much of her story is your story, and that's the connection that makes a bond that grows for 35 years and counting. So Kelley, happy anniversary from all of us at home and at WPTV.
That,
Lovely lady.
that is, Michael, you put together such a nice piece, and it is just, oh my gosh, it's hilarious to look back at just the styles, first of all, and hair and everything else, and how I was so unskilled at any of that in the very, very beginning. So that's kind of funny too. But I really, you had mentioned the different co-anchors, and those are the people. So those at home get to see me with every day, interacting with you, and everybody knows top-notch class. Everything you said about me, I say right back about you, my friend. But also, you know, I look back, Kent Earhart was such a big part of my career here at Channel 5. The first person I was paired up with on the anchor desk, I was a reporter when I was hired in February. And then in October, I became the morning and noon anchor and was like, whoa, you know.
October of 86.
Yeah,
Right.
in 86, exactly. So I reported, so I was a general assignment reporter for 6 months. And then I was paired up with Kent, who is a meteorologist, one of the main meteorologists in the St. Louis area, KMOV, if any of you all know, at the CBS station. And Kent and I just became immediate fast friends, but also just good chemistry back in a day when there wasn't all of the distraction and people watched news all the time. And we did have a lot of fun, but it was different back then. People had to watch you to find out what was going on. There was a different, it was just a different time. You know, television viewing has changed so much. Sure. So I think we really connected with the audience and really developed that relationship. And I truly believe that helped propel me through the rest of my career here at Channel 5. And I was given wonderful opportunities by Scripps, by the managers here, by the general managers and corporate. And I'm deeply grateful for being able to kind of move up the ladder without having to move away, because I'm a Florida girl. You know, I was raised in Daytona Beach, in Ormond Beach. So just, most people don't know Ormond, but they know Daytona. So it's just north of Daytona Beach. So it's such a special time to be able to stay in my home state for all of these years.
But there's a chemistry, and you see it in the comments. Congratulations. Her laugh is contagious. We love her. We keep putting them up. And thank you all at home so much for sending in these comments. They're also wonderful as we're looking at. And there's Willard Scott, Today's Show. Yes. And then the 30th. I remember when they put up the big sign in town, you with Oprah. I mean, Tom Brokaw.
Yeah, that's my nephew, Matthew. I did a lot of cystic fibrosis promos with my nephew, who was diagnosed when he was 3 months old. It passed away when he was 21. Willard Scott. There's another one with me and Matthew when we were doing, that was one, you know, back in the day, Michael, you remember, because you've been in the business even longer than me, that networks had big budgets back then. So the affiliates, and we're an NBC affiliate, of course, we'd be flown up to New York or wherever to do promos with them. And that was almost on a regular basis. So that was, and the first time I went to New York City was to go meet Jane Pauley and Bryant Gumbel. The first time I ever flew to New York City was for a work trip. That was that same year that I was hired. That was back in 1986. So we, especially Kent and I, we had a lot of fun back at that time and going on those trips. I had a lot of opportunities that were afforded to me. And then to be able to move up the ladder and to, anchor other broadcasts. I did morning and noon. I did noon for the longest time, longest of my stretch. I think over 20 years I was on at noon. The mornings I was on for 4 years. But back then, again, such a different TV landscape, that was from 6:30 to 7 in the morning. Now morning news everywhere starts at 4:30 or 4.
Mike and Ashley and company are in at 3:30.
I know. Oh, they're up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I think I rolled out of bed at 4 and got in at 5.
Team, Erica and Stephanie. I don't want to miss anybody. It's a great morning gang, but yeah, their hours are quite a bit earlier.
Oh, quite a bit.
You talk about we talk about the chemistry, but it's a two-way street, and you talked about that. You fit the community hand in glove. The community fit you hand in glove. It's a station that's been lucky that the people who ran it had the foresight to hire the Kelley Dunns and so many others. Of course, Jim Sackett, you and I were celebrating his retirement, it seemed like yesterday, one of the great gentlemen. And I would say to you at home, I love the history of television. I mean, to have people of iconic status in their industry, and we have several here, but really Kelley, and Jim Sackett, of course, Steve Weigel charging up to, of course, he's practically a baby. 22 years, 22 and a half years for Steve. But you at home allowed that chemistry to build too. And I know you want to talk about that. It's not just what you bring through that screen. It's what you felt the community always gave back to you that made it a two-way street of building that for you. Talk about that, because I know it's near and dear to your heart, the people who are writing in and how they made you want to do this for so long.
Without question. I was hired by Bill Brooks, the longtime vice president, general manager of News Channel 5. Just an absolute amazing person to work for. And at the time, John Ray was the news director, who basically was the final say on, we'll hire this girl. She's kind of green. She's just out of the University of Florida, but we'll take a chance on her. And when I was promoted, when John Ray promoted me to an anchor, he said, you know what, you need to stay connected to the community. So we started a weekly segment called Kelley's Heroes that I did for 25 or so years, I believe. And that was and it was highlighting people that were doing good things in the community. To this day, I have people that'll write to me and say, oh, I was a Kelley's hero back in, 1994, or you met me at, this, that, and the other thing. So it was a way to stay connected. I was out every week doing great stories that were fun to do, but also just highlighting the amazing people in this community. So I really credit John Ray with keeping me out there, because I could have just, been a full-time anchor kind of in the station most times on the air, that doing some reporting, but he made sure that I was out and connected to the community. And then community events, and you do so many. I've loved the organizations that I've long been associated with, and we still are. This has been a weird year because of COVID, and we haven't been able to get out and do in-person events, but that's very important, because at the end of the day, we're in a studio talking to cameras. Now we don't even have camera people behind them because it's all automated, but it's the people watching us that are trusting us and turning on their TVs at home or now their phones or whatever. It's the greatest privilege in the world, because especially now there are a lot of ways to get information. And it really is an honor that I do not take for granted. So I love people, and I love meeting people
and it shows, Kelley.
And they're, it's just
Kelley,
great.
I want to bring a comment that Stephanie, Adrian, our wonderful producer, Stephanie has this comment, because as you're saying that, Kelley, I want you are my comfort voice, Stephanie says on the news, and you are. I'm 40, I've lived here my whole life. How do you still look the same? She's 35 in TV years. She's even younger in real years. she's giving me a stipend. She is. She's forever young. But that really sums it up. And I think the best anchors are the synthesis of the community, and the community is the synthesis of them. So Kelley will be the first to say you're as much responsible because of that dynamic. And you, of course, will say it's because of Kelley, and it makes a wonderful marriage for a community and an anchor who is the comfort voice. And I think that
it's funny, Michael, because one thing that I always tell young people who are getting into television journalism and broadcasting, and they'll say, what's your biggest piece of advice? And if you want to be an on-air person or an anchor specifically, I think one rule that I've tried to always live by, and maybe it's not even that I have to try because I think it's just me, but I think you have to, when you're on air, you have to be you. People can see straight through someone who's pretending to be someone else. And in the beginning, I admit, I loved Jane Pauley on the Today Show. Just loved Jane Pauley, Connie Chung. I mean, you think back about all these things of women in broadcasting back in the day that I admired so much. And I would catch myself sometimes thinking, well, I wonder if Jane Pauley would do that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, whatever. I can only be me. So my advice is, I think to connect with people, you have to be authentic. And so I've really tried to always live by that. And I don't even know if I can't be, because it's kind of, you get what you get. What you're seeing is what you're getting. And if you don't like it, that's okay. There are other stations, but if you like it, then let's have a relationship, because I appreciate you and I'm glad you appreciate me.
Well, 35 years. I'd say the jury is in on the relationship that we're having with you. And we see happiest of anniversaries from Michael Woods. Wow, I remember when you started. So Michael was 5 too.
That's right.
They were watching you when they were 5, apparently. At any rate, it's funny too, as we talk, there's Michael's comment. Thank you, Michael, so much. We're seeing so many. Christine East Lack Johnston says, wow, what vitamins does she take? I want some. She looks
I do actually take a lot of vitamins, to be honest.
Kelley, tell too, it's very funny from 86 to now. It wasn't just the hairstyles, of course. It's just newsrooms. It was manual typewriters, computers we were scared of. Talk about sort of the evolution and everything from style to the way a newsroom ran.
Sure.
Well, and you've been there to see all of it.
I know. Isn't that funny? I mean, and now a lot of the trends from back then are coming back. Shoulder pads and big jewelry, as far as like the image look and that sort of thing. But it is funny. Yeah. When I walked into that newsroom in 1986, there were mainly manual typewriters. There was one electric typewriter that was a big deal if you could ever type on that. So that we were used to that, though. That's what we, used at the University of Florida when we were going through the program. Yeah. But one thing I look back on and remember is that so many people smoked. I mean, it was a smoky, cigarette butt-filled newsroom. That was commonplace back then, believe it or not. I know it seems very strange now, but a lot of, especially the producers, because they were always hard at work and pounding away on the manual typewriters. So that's interesting when you think back on that. But the way technology has changed everything. I mean, think about it, Michael. Back then, there were no answering machines. I know it seems weird, but you had those little while you were out pads, and everybody took note messages for everybody and left them on their desk. So the way that technology has changed is the biggest thing.
Well, like Christine Sullivan, who says still watching, and she can do it from Rhode Island now with computers. Right. Congratulations. Yeah. But technology changed quickly, changed your whole deadlines, changed the way you approached it.
Everything.
And yet you still are that voice that through all the craziness and deadlines and this and web, and you need this published now and here and there. Kelley, I always marvel at that. I'm like, she's always the calmest person in the newsroom, always the voice that we all listen to as well.
Well, Michael, from working in the Miami.
Thank you for your comment. Look at that beautiful.
Let me see. Sorry, got to put these on. Aw, watch it faithfully every night. Thank you. Thank you so much, Linda. Move back to New York. Oh, we miss you too. And I know you miss our weather, but thank you very much for writing in. That's very sweet of you. Michael, think about how things have changed, like on major stories. It seems like Florida's become the center of the news universe for all these decades. And things like hurricane season. Literally, like I said, I spent my whole life in Florida. I grew up in Florida. I think I remember one hurricane as a kid. Yeah. And then it was 92, was Andrew, of course. And then since then, all of the storms we've had, and now it's more of a regular occurrence. So it's created a different link between us and the people at home, because that, I think, it really boils down to where our biggest usefulness comes, is being that emergency lifeline to people at home during big emergencies like hurricanes. So it's wild to even think about hurricane season.
And this exactly now, the ability for you to talk to us, write to us, and for Kelley or anybody in this craft now to instantly get feedback, instantly respond, and especially at important times, major times in the community, to answer your questions after a hurricane, or now to talk to you about your thoughts, your questions, that two-way street where we've broken down that barrier between the studio and the camera and you at home. You've commented on that a lot. You love that. You love your audience that you're able to talk to each night, Facebook, whatever. That's been a lot of fun for you.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, you know what? For the most part, and I know this is a divisive world right now that we're living in, but I will always forever have rose-colored glasses on, almost literally, and believe that people are good. And I know that because I've seen it year after year after year. And no matter what, I think people want to be kind, and they want to have things in common. And I've loved meeting people over the years, whether it's in Target or wherever. Another thing that I tell people who get into the business is, again, appreciate that you don't see them, but they're there, and appreciate that connection. And it's so fun when you meet people in person, or when we're out at the Komen Walk, or where we're doing Food for Families events or something like that. It's just really great to have that connection.
I know 35 years. How do you parse them? You talked about Kelley's Heroes. Other moments, stories that still leave you in stitches, and you've covered so much of this community's story. You've watched this community grow. You've raised your children in this community. You have a wonderful.
I met my husband here. So
I don't know if everybody knows
my
that.
husband John was working here. He's 2 years younger than I am, and he was still in college when I started at Channel 5. So then we met, and then we started dating, and no one really knew about it until the Channel 5 Christmas party. It was like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Back then we had Christmas parties. And so it was, met him, and then he worked here for several years, and then went on to complete his TV career. And then he went into law enforcement after that. So I'm so embedded with everything at Channel 5. It's funny because you're right. I mean, I started here right after school, met my husband, then got married. I still have people now that are like, oh my gosh, I remember your wedding. Because of course we put it on TV. I mean, not the whole thing. And tons of people from the station were there. And it was, because this is my family. This is my extended family. And that's a great thing to be able to claim after all these years. I'm very, very proud of that. Oh, Keith and Margaret Collier. Okay. Margaret, I went to the University of Florida with, and then she married Keith, and Keith was a photographer here at News Channel 5. And actually one of the old pictures that was in I think it was some of the pictures that are on Instagram, was a picture of Keith. And where were we, Keith? We were covering the Pope. The Pope was down in Miami.
Paul, 87.
Yeah. And so Keith and I were down there. Oh my gosh, 35 years later. Yes. Oh, Margaret. There he is right there. That's Keith Collier. Okay. Right before Oprah. You're in a good spot, Keith. So Keith and Margaret, dear friends, thank you so much, guys. Appreciate that.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Brian says, robbing the cradle. Well, there's so many great comments. It's like, how do you pick? Now, was that Jonathan? One of yours?
I think that
went by quickly. But,
you know what? It went by quickly, and I
Oprah.
have to look back at it. That's both of them, Jonathan and Christina.
There you go.
Visiting set. Jay Leno, of course.
Jay Leno.
There's Powerhouse Williams and Kent and this is funny. Those are pictures from the South Florida Fair. The fair was a huge deal back in the day. Like we did shifts.
Oh, yeah.
At the fair. We'd go out there, anybody who worked here at the time, you'd go and work the booth for hours at a time, like literally 3 or 4 times during the course of the fair. remember, there was not a lot of way to stay connected to the community. So at those big events is where you got to meet people. And Channel 5, we were always a big part and sponsor of the fair. And they had that booth. I found those pictures the other day and I was like, oh my gosh, we had a whole NBC store. So I remember always doing fair duty. We did a live show, the stuff with Willard Scott, when the Today Show came to the South Florida Fair to do weather from the South Florida Fair. And there was a big scandal because there was a very energetic guy who was trying to get on national television. And during a live spot with Willard next to a cow, he rushed toward the camera and the cow moved and bumped Willard. And everybody's kind of like, what's going on? So it was this big thing. And, Willard was so funny. Bryant came back to him and Bryant's like, are you okay? Are you all right? And he goes, yeah, I just got to change my shorts. I mean, he was, and then I interviewed Willard a couple other times when he was in town on a book tour. Such a nice gentleman, such a nice gentleman.
Yeah, that's great.
Oprah was the queen. A lot of people ask me about Oprah.
Oh, sure.
And we were an Oprah station for I think the whole time Oprah was on the air, Oprah aired on PTV.
Mm-hmm.
So very fortunate to be an Oprah station. And it was in 94. She was having some anchors from the various stations come up there. And that was an exciting interview. One of the nicest people. We just hit it off and that was a lot of fun. So
Simon, we know anniversary. Simon LaForme says, congrats, love watching you. I hit my 35 years on Simone, excuse me. I need my glasses too, Simone. 35 years as well. So
congratulations.
A lot of you at home know what it's like to work somewhere and really get rooted there. And that's wonderful. Kelley, in our remaining minutes here, final thoughts. You see the outpouring of love there. Final thoughts and messages to your countless fans out there, also well-deserved after a brilliant 35 years, one of the greats.
Well, I'm humbled and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for all of the people that helped me get to where I am today and everybody along the way. We were talking about it. There was a nice little distanced reception after the 6 o'clock news tonight when Nicole, our news director, was in the newsroom with everybody. And we were all sitting around talking about things at a distance again with everybody wearing their masks. And I wouldn't be where I am without everybody in my life, without my parents who were so instrumental in steering me in the direction I was going. Meeting my husband, John, and then having a 30-year marriage to him. My best friend, Tony May, who was my college roommate and then also worked at Channel 5 for a time. She's been instrumental. Kate Wentley, who was my first producer, and Kate Bruderman Wentley, had such faith in me. John Ray, the news director. And then I get into, all the men of my life, Kent Earhart and John Favoli and Michael Williams and Jim
John Sparks.
John Sparks. Oh my gosh, Tom Castanotis. Yeah. These are all Denise Jakehouse. I was hired with Denise on the exact same day, Brooks Koepka's mom. And she and I worked side by side for many, many years. So it's Steve Weagle. You name it. It's been a group effort, and I'm just so proud.
You know that guy, Brian Lawler.
Brian Lawler, absolutely.
One of our great bosses in Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Who used to be he used to be in sales here back in the day.
I met Brian back in his Miami.
And then was the general manager, actually. Yeah.
Brilliant work.
Brian who put me on at night for the evening newscast. It was because of Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Brian's now one of the architects of what we're seeing nationally with Scripps and its growth and to communities and doing a lot of great work everywhere. So I think Brian wishes from Cincinnati. I think that they're all freezing up there.
Yeah, he's ready for a corporate tour down in South Florida.
Yeah, still got the sand in the shoes there. But
to sum it up, Michael, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. And every one of you who know me have played a part in getting me to where I am today. So I say thank you from the bottom of my heart, and we'll just keep doing what we're doing. And we just appreciate everybody watching. We really, really do.
All right. We will call it a day. do your sign off there. It'll be official once you sign off there. First Lady of News.
Okay. What's for dinner? No, just kidding.
And the cake that we had for your celebration, of
Already
which I ate too much.
cake. It was delicious. So I don't even know if I need dinner, but no, just thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a friend to WPTV. Thank you for being a friend of mine. And it will not be 35 more years, that's for sure. But I'm not leaving anytime soon. Not yet. There might be a countdown clock on my phone. I don't know, but no. We'll plan the next chapter. We'll give it some time. It's all good. Thanks for watching.